Howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with the creative growth hacks, and connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief marketing officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining us for the Roofer Growth Hacks podcast. Really excited to have you on today. Why don't we kick this off by telling us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneurial journey, where you started, why you started, where are you at now?
Okay. Yeah. I started in the 90s. I started with building online websites. I would either, build businesses or sell them. I've had different affiliate programs, businesses that I set up. I was into email marketing. I was into, it was called lead sponsors. That was another one of my businesses. E-card sites, greeting card sites, kind of just a serial entrepreneur. I also had some software companies back in the day. About 5 years ago, I was introduced to the roofing industry. I started doing some marketing for roofing companies, and I'm all about systems and processes. So I started a roofing company around 5 years ago, saw a need for inexpensive CRMs. A lot of CRMs out there now, they're overpriced, bloated with features that you don't use. So I was in the field and started developing our own CRM and recently just launched that to the public. That's called RoofFlow Pro. Very affordable, has great features in there. Everyone says their CRM is the best out there, but roofing companies are actually thanking us for building this. And we have a free trial, and we have a lot of people using it right now, right around 350 users. And we just launched just a few months ago. So,
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going well. It's very affordable. And some CRMs are $1,000 to $2,000 a month with just up to 10 users. So, when I talk to those clients, basically what you're paying for is their overhead, their support. A lot of their code is outdated. When they make changes, it causes a ripple effect throughout the whole system. So this is built fresh. I've been into software for over 25 years now. So I mixed my experience with software development with roofing to come up with RoofFlow Pro.
Very cool. Very cool. So how does a marketer, right? Let me hear this right, or make sure that I heard it right. You said that you were a marketer before, and then you bought a roofing company, or you started a roofing company?
I started it from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to also.
What made you do that?
I love systems and processes, and I also, in this industry, you're able to help homeowners that otherwise would not get a, full roof replacement or even get their roof repaired. So this is one of the industries that you're able to give back and turn this into a career. On a personal note, I watched my mother be taken advantage of my whole childhood. So it is really rewarding to be able to fight for these homeowners and get them a full roof or get them a repair. Or we just had a big storm in Ohio with lots of wind and hail. We go around tarping customers' roofs, and if they don't want to use us, that's fine. People don't understand. I just talked to a homeowner yesterday. She's losing sleep over her roof. They don't have money. They're on fixed incomes. They can't even afford a $30 a month payment. So when someone comes along and is able to help them and is genuine and doesn't want to take advantage of them, that's a huge deal to them. They sleep at night, and so that's very rewarding.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, starting out your own roofing company and all that kind of stuff after being in the marketing industry. So how did that help your roofing company?
Well, branding and marketing has been my thing forever. So a lot of people, when they start a business, they overthink it. They're like, okay, so, how am I going to do the logo, the branding, and then what am I going to do? I have to hire a marketing agency. And I've been building businesses so long that I don't think about what can go wrong. I think about what's going to go right. Not that every one of my businesses has been a success. There's a lot of businesses that I've just shut down and moved on to other things. But roofing, I knew that I could get leads. That's what the roofing industry is. Eventually, your referrals will start to come. You'll build your name. People will know your trucks. And I knew it was going to be, a marathon, basically. And as you know, with SEO these days, a lot of roofing companies, any company that I would deal with, they would want to see instant results. And if they didn't see that, they move on to the next marketing agency. So I saw that over and over again. And I would try to tell them, you just have to just relax and let us do our thing. And it's going to take, where it used to take 6 months. In 2008, I started, it's called logomyway.com. I still have that. It's a crowdsourcing website for logo designs. We have designers all over the world, and we've had over 30,000 clients. But in 2008, it only took me a couple months just to start to show up under logo contest and logo design. Now you're lucky if that happens within a year. And I think it's even going to take even longer, 2 years. So if you start a fresh website right now, don't even plan on organic traffic for a year or two. They're not indexing as much. As you know, this is your industry. Google's not indexing as much as they used to. AI's involved. Backlinks take forever. You can't buy backlinks any longer. They have to happen organically. So Google's very smart. We talked about in the 90s when we started Alta Vista and Excite. I started a wholesale site back then, and I was selling cookware. So Excite, I would put wholesale cookware a few times on that page, and it would show up a little bit higher. So I put it on there 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and like with just in a few days. So compared to, back when everything started till now, we're dealing with very smart companies and smart algorithms, and you're not going to knock somebody off that front page anytime soon that's been there forever, that's built their reputation. And for some people, it's probably never going to happen. That's just the price you pay for coming in late, I guess.
Yeah.
Not coming in late. There's always hope. You can always build things, but people are very impatient, and it's just going to take time.
So it sounds like that patience helped you. Did that help you then on your search engine front?
Yes, it did. I knew it was going to take time, and I knew that I had to get the website out there, whatever it is, BBB or, directories that talk about roofing companies. You have to actively be, finding places like that for your website to live so that you have links coming in. And organic is the best. I'm talking to a news agency here in Columbus that wants to talk about what to do on roofs after there's storm damage. So we'll give tips to homeowners, and of course that news station would then link to us. They have a lot of relevancy that will give us some credibility, and hopefully rank us up a little bit higher under roofing companies in Columbus, Ohio. So it's reaching out. Google knows that people are not going to link to us that are not very credible.
Yeah, 100%. So as someone who's started your company, I'm going to say this, relatively soon, like not too long ago, you haven't been in business for 20, 30 years as a roofing company specifically, right? What would you tell people that are starting to open up their own roofing company or considering opening up their roofing company right now? Like if you were to talk to yourself 5 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
I've learned a lot of lessons over the past 25 years that I don't have to learn now, but somebody just starting out, I would probably say, don't plan on your business to grow each year. And when you see a lot of money, don't think that's money that should be spent. Spend your money on your marketing, on hiring good people. And it's, you have to, in the roofing industry, your profit margin is anywhere from 15 to 30%. So this is just an example. Say you have $250,000 in your account, but you haven't paid your ABC bill, you haven't paid your installers, your truck payments are coming out, and now all of a sudden you're coming into winter and you pay all your bills and you have, $50K in there. So you have to start over each year. So I would say, don't be so frugal that you don't want to spend money on your business. When it comes to marketing, you just have to try things and see what happens. And for people that are afraid to lose money, that's, in my opinion, that's a big mistake. You have to spend it wisely. But I think a lot of people are also taken advantage of by marketing companies, and that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And that's why they just keep turning over these marketing companies, because they're thinking now they're getting scammed by the next person. Some companies, as you know, are $2,000 a month. Some are 5, some are 8, some are 10. They just make up. Me being in the SEO business, I would love to audit roofing companies or any business do an audit and find out exactly what their SEO person was doing. And I'm telling you, 90% of the time, it was nothing. It was pure just them saying, building a blog or just stuff that they outsourced overseas and then just kept collecting. Most of them don't even know what they're doing, which they can get away with that because the company they're working for, they don't know what they're doing either. So it's just a revolving door. And then when I come in, and I would go in with an audit and say, here's exactly what your roofing company, or here's what your SEO's company is doing, and here's the little rinky-dink backlinks that you have coming in, and nothing's being done. And they signed a 2-year agreement with this company. They ended up getting out, but
my favorite is the Facebook groups that you'll see constant, and I've got a whole I've kept screenshots of these things over the years, right? Because it's just hilarious to me. People go into the Facebook group and say, hey, I got my first customer. Now what?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it just kind of goes right to that story of they don't even know what they're doing, but they're going out there and selling it,
Yeah.
So and I'm talking about marketers. I'm throwing my own industry underneath the bus here, but I've seen it day in and day out.
Well, yeah, I know you were seeing the same things that I was seeing. And what I would tell some of my clients was you were hiring whoever had the best pitch. That's all you were doing. Yeah. And because they're not able to. So with the last place that I was at a few years ago, I was doing still some SEO for a company here in Columbus. I asked the SEO guy, I said, I want to see the websites that you've, ranked up high. Let me see what you've done. And even those sites had 6 visitors a month. Like it was just ridiculous. So in this industry, you're obviously very legit. We've both been doing this for over 25 years, and that's really what it takes. It doesn't take that long, but I would never hire anyone that didn't have any more than 10 years experience in SEO and online marketing.
Well, yeah. And what the crazy part is that, SEO is changing all the time, right? So, I mean, Google changes now, and I thought it was like 600 times a year. I looked it up recently and I was amazed. It was like tens of thousands of times per year now because of AI and everything, how everything is sped up. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yep. Yep. And this last change just a couple of days ago, I was looking into that as well. So they're cracking down on content that's being pushed out very quickly. They want unique content, but you have to wonder why, though.
Mm-hmm.
Why go to a blog? When's the last time you were on a blog? Like, everyone wants instant information, and I think it's going to happen to where. And are they even indexing that information? Our website, we have a lot of content on there and information, FAQs, and built a blog just because it's easy to build them these days. But is Google really going to take information from that, or are they just going to use their AI? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I just read, honestly, a new a new patent that they had pushed through Google themselves as we're talking about this, right? That it basically reproduces any web page and presents that. So basically it takes your information and says, okay, well, this is the real information over here, right? And so people don't even go to your website. And that's been happening a long time in the search engine result pages, but they just filed a patent that essentially is okay, this is exactly what we're going to do, kind of a thing. So it's nice. Interesting. Yeah.
So if someone is asking for information, say about an ice dam on their house, and our website has information, they'll pull that information from that actual page from the website and show where it came from.
Yeah. And the patent really was more along the lines of, okay, well, we don't think that you're going to convert on your web page, so we're going to build another web page and present that to them and convert there. Right.
Okay.
So that's it was just it's a little bit different than some of the other things that they've been doing, meaning like, showing the AI overviews and the snippets and all that kind of stuff that they've been doing for the past, 5 or 6 years on that side of things. It's going to be along the lines of, hey, we're going to present this entire other website that looks like your website, but we created it so that it can convert.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see where this goes. As you know, when we started back in the 90s, I mean, everything was open game. Google didn't even have an algorithm. They didn't even have a pay per click.
Yeah.
Um, you think of like Yahoo was the number one search engine. Now, no one even uses them. It's so crazy to think about
Yeah.
how quickly those companies, if you don't do things the right way and you think you're not innovative, how quickly you can get swallowed up by people. Amazon and Google and all those big players.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting how quickly that they could go away too. I mean, like you look at Yahoo completely disappeared. I mean, they're irrelevant these days and have been for the past 20 years.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And some of those sites back in the day, that I thought would be around forever. One that crosses my mind was ilovebacon.com. I don't know if you remember that, but just all these, eBums World was very popular. I know the guy that started that, that went away. Just so many sites that were in the top probably 50 that don't even exist. You don't meet too many
Yeah.
people that started, marketing back in the 90s.
No, I know exactly. I do have some friends, honestly, that are like that. That started in the '90s or in the early 2000s and stuff like that. That have been through the gamut. I have a friend that used to work for Yahoo, right, way back in the day. So that kind of really dates
Really?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So. Right. Let me ask you because, all right. So you've invested quite a bit, it sounds like, into your search engine optimization efforts and you understand how to do that. What about advertising? Have you done any kind of pay-per-click or anything like that for your company?
Yeah, some Facebook. I recently did some Reddit. I don't know if you ever advertised on Reddit. It's
Okay.
going okay. Mostly it's Facebook and Instagram for us is what we're seeing. I've tried LinkedIn. Man, LinkedIn
Okay.
just really wants to charge you like
Okay.
$10 a click or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
man, I've
Yeah.
never met anyone that was really
I've
too
never been
happy with
successful
that, but
with LinkedIn advertising. No.
no,
Mm-mm.
I've tried a lot too, sending, direct messages and doing different things but I'm seeing Facebook and Instagram. So that's what we're focusing on.
Okay. How about local service ads through Google? Do you guys run those?
Local service yes. Yeah. We even those get
Okay.
very expensive. Um,
Yeah.
that can be, $2,000 to $4,000 a month. I don't know, $5, $6, $7, $10 a click with some of that stuff. So you have good intentions when you start
Yeah.
that, but after a while, you're like, okay, let's pause that for a while. Unless you're like a
Sure.
Feasel or Able
Absolutely.
or something that's doing 100 million a year, then you just let it go. They don't even care how much it is, probably.
Yeah. Right. Right. Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to pause real quick here for a message from our sponsor before we head into our lightning round. RoofingSites.com. Since 2018, RoofingSites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to RoofingSites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. Okay, and we're back for our lightning round. Joe, we have one rule only here for the lightning round. Basically, you have 1 minute or less to answer each of the questions. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Number one, what is your favorite personal hack? This can be a book, a podcast, whatever. Pretty much anything goes here for roofer growth hacks.
Roofer growth hacks, I would say, it's not really a hack, but reviews are really important, and you have to talk to that homeowner before you ask them for a review. You always want to say, if we're not a 5-star, what do we have to do to get there? Some companies just shoot out a link and say, give us a review. I like to talk to people before they do that. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. Love that. Number two. Okay. So what is your favorite business hack, right? Again, this could be a book. It could be a podcast, whatever.
Favorite business, always being open to new ideas and talking to people. Don't ever think that something is going to be a waste of your time. You might feel like it's a waste of your time, but 5 months, 10 months, a year down the road, it may pan out and turn into something. I ask tons of questions. I get made fun of by my cousin. I ask so many questions with people, but I'm curious to how they got to where they're at, what they did, what they do in their spare time, how they started their business. So I think just be curious.
Yeah. Love that. Absolutely love that. All right. Next question. What is the absolute best advice that you've ever been given, and bonus points for how you actually applied it?
Okay, what comes to mind was I was in high school and I was starting businesses back in high school. And I was at my grandfather's restaurant and would always talk to the customers. And the saying that never give up, that customer told me, yes, you never give up, but you have to know when to give up on what you're doing and when to pivot. Some people, they just keep, working a business and they think that just because they're not going to give up, that's going to be successful. You have to know when it's time, when there's no market for the business that you're starting, and move on to something else. And that's very difficult for people because they feel like they've already failed and they don't want to fail again. So a lot of people, they go at it just one time. With myself personally, I've had tons of failing businesses in the past. I would say more that, almost all of them made money, but maybe not enough to hold on to it. And then I would pivot into something else. But take Logo My Way, for example. That was doing 1.4 million a year. And now it's much, much less than that because of AI. And I was, back in the day, I was like, I finally got one that's gonna stick around, because it's people's minds. They're designing things. What could possibly take that over? I never dreamt. And I have a lot of clients that use me, that use Logo My Way over and over and over again. But now with AI, I mean, it's down 70, 80% from years ago. So I was listening to another podcast where the guy had a very similar site, and he's like, yeah, it just went away. And I think you're a serial entrepreneur. You've talked about having other businesses, but it's tough now to start a business knowing that it may not last forever because you put so much time and effort into it. And as things evolve, look how many businesses have went away. But my greeting card site that I had, it was called Rotten E-Cards. It was all over Facebook, and it was a little pastel cards that had funny sayings on them. That was generating a lot of money, a lot of traffic, like millions of impressions a day. And everyone just got tired of seeing those online greeting cards. That went away. There's a lot of examples where I had about a 5-year window of a business, and it went away. Even SEO, is getting a little bit more difficult, but people are needing it more. They just don't know it. They really need it now more than ever with AI. So people should be contacting you all day long. What do I need to do to stay ahead of AI and ahead of SEO? Because now is the time to get started on that.
100%. I mean, it's the best. What's the saying? The best time to plant a tree is yesterday. The next best time is today. Or 20 years ago, that's what it was. 20 years ago, best next time is today.
Yep. Yeah. And even if they're not spending a ton of money, I'm sure, I no longer do SEO, but I'm sure you have some plans in there that are on the lower end for lower budgets. Just get started with anything.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to start doing something, because with chat, GPT and everybody else only recommending 3 different businesses, sometimes one, what's going to happen to the 4th and 5th and 6th placement on Google when it's just AI?
All right, last question here, Joe. How can the Roofer Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? How can we support you and encourage you moving forward?
Well, thank you for asking. I would say roofflowpro.com is what I'm really excited about. And the reason is I'm talking to roofing company owners that they're literally thanking me for building this. They're saying that they can't afford to leave our CRM, and they're saving literally $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month. And I remember paying those high bills. And when that would come out each month, I would just keep thinking to myself, gosh, this is just a chunk of code that I'm paying this much money for. It's way overpriced. So they can get more trucks with the money they're saving. They can hire a part-time office person or, whatever it is. So I feel like Roof Flow Pro, and I've met with Owens Corning and some other people that are very excited about the software. We just integrated with ABC Supply so that you can order supplies right through Roof Flow Pro right now. And we have a lot more features to come. We have neighborhoods that you can find a canvas. We're pulling weather data, photos, documents, notes. You can have a team of 10 people in there that all collaborate on the same job. Job boards, very simple. For me, when I look at something, programmers, when they look at things, if they have to go through 6 steps, they're like, oh, that's not too bad. But for me, I want to go through 1 step, maybe 2. It's because programmers sometimes they're too smart, really. I like things to be very simple, and that's how the software is built. So when you log in, you don't have to take a course on how to use it, which was another thing. Companies they want you to watch a course on how to use the software. It was just too much and too overwhelming. So I have a free 30-day trial. You don't have to put in a credit card. No one likes doing that. If you want a live demo, you can. If not, there's already a live demo set up in there so that you can do it without having to schedule. So I think it's it's going to change things.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on Roofer Growth Hacks. Really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and wisdom from marketing all the way through to CRM stuff to roofing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and you don't have this book in your hands, I will send you a free digital copy. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.